Welcome to AQMD on the Air. I'm your host, Mark Carroll. Our guest today is Bill Marr. Mr. Marr has worked for over 20 years to help California's small businesses understand and meet the most stringent environmental regulations in the nation, while at the same time advocating the use of cost-effective, market-oriented programs to attain these standards. He is most recognized for his achievements as the manager of Southern California Edison's Clean Air Coatings Technologies program, which earned the Best Program in America and Most Distinguished Program awards by the Edison Electric Institute. After he retired from the Edison Company, he joined the California Small Business Alliance as its executive director. He also sits on various advisory committees at the South Coast Air Quality Management District. Mr. Marr, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Mark, for inviting me.
Sure. Let's first start with some background. Can you tell us a little bit about what your organization does?
The California Small Business Alliance is a coalition of small business trade associations that have come together in common interests. It gives small businesses an opportunity to leverage their resources and to strategically position themselves on matters involving legislation, environmental regulation, and enforcement strategies that affect them.
What type of businesses, for instance, which trade groups or industries are represented by these trade groups?
Well, we have a variety of industries: the construction industry, the printing industry, the furniture industry, the collision repair industry, metal finishing, dry cleaning industry, and the petroleum industry. Mm-hmm. So we have a good cross section of industry that all of which are regulated by the district and also by state and federal regulators as well.
And so, what is the philosophy and the priorities of the Small Business Alliance?
Our philosophy, I guess, is the same as everyone else's. Our members advocate a clean and healthy environment. You know, we're all residents in the region's community. We want a healthy environment, a good place to raise families. We also want a robust economy. And we believe that we don't have to have one without at the expense of the other. As for the priorities, I think it's the purview of legislators and regulators that really establish the priorities. We do provide input, as do other sectors of the economy, into the overall process. Your AQMD, for example, is one good example. But I think in the final analysis, at least here in South Coast, it's your agency that counts the cadence to the the march that we all have to comply with.
Mm-hmm. I know the California Small Business Alliance was a major supporter of Senate Bill 827, state legislation that ended a moratorium on AQMD's ability to issue permits for local projects and for equipment in the South Coast Basin. How did passage of this legislation make a difference? And specifically, can you talk about what kind of projects were affected and have a connection to cleaner air?
Senate Bill 827, its passage was like a dawn of a new day for over 1,000 businesses. And we were experiencing a year-long moratorium. There were many businesses that could not legally operate for that long period of time. Some actually had to close their doors. Many had to shed staff. Some, if they had branches outside of the South Coast region, were able to absorb that work. But that was the minority. With the passage of 827, and I guess I should mention Senator Wright's good efforts too, and certainly support from the district here. We were able to find a solution to what I thought was a wrong-headed decision in the first place, to literally put businesses out of business or keep them from doing business. An example, you asked for an example. One example that comes to mind involved a family-owned business in Pomona.
Mm-hmm.
Oddly enough, they're engaged in the manufacture and production of thermal oxidizers and afterburners, the very type of equipment that one would buy to control, capture and control emission reductions, to clean the air. And the absurdity of the whole thing is that they were prevented from engaging in that type of work for a year. That was work that had to go to competitors outside the state. So the local economy took a double hit. Their business was nearly went bankrupt. Was unable to to help clean the air here in this basin because of that moratorium.
And are they back on their feet now?
They're back. It is a long road back. I haven't talked with them recently. The one thing that they did suffer, of course, was a loss of customers. They had customers who had demands for their product, and they couldn't make them and sell them.
Right.
So customers migrate to where they can get service.
Well, let me turn now to the Federal Clean Air Act. Section 185 of the Federal Clean Air Act, because this region has not attained the ozone standard under the National Ambient Air Quality Standards, is required to collect a fee from major stationary sources.
Right.
And the irony of that is the major stationary sources have been controlled upwards of 90% in our region. So about 80% of the pollution in the South Coast Air Basin comes from mobile sources, which aren't the ones who are fined under Section 185. So I know that the California Small Business Alliance is interested in this issue. Can you share a little bit about what your organization has done and the work that we've done that you've done with AQMD to address this inequity and to protect the businesses in the small businesses and large businesses in the South Coast Basin?
Sure. As you know, major sources in an extreme non-attainment area like ours are 10 tons, not 100 tons like you see in other parts of the country. And there are reasons for that. But I guess the point that I would make with that is that because they are 10 tons, this means that Section 185 is focused on small businesses, and unlike major operations made in other parts of the country. So this had a deleterious effect on hundreds of small businesses in the region who were at BACT, California backed. There wasn't any
Best available control
technology, right. California backed, I should say, which is equivalent to federal LAIR, lowest achievable emission reduction technology. And these were facilities. These weren't your slackers and your laggards. I mean, these were people who had made considerable investments in the latest technology and had done all they could do. There wasn't and isn't anything else that they can buy off the shelf to make them any cleaner than they already are. And Section 185 would have imposed a horrific amount of fees over and above what they already pay, simply because they happen to reside in this region.
Right.
And as you pointed out, our contribution, or the contribution to pollution, has changed over the years. It's been stationary sources that have made the investments to make their operations cleaner, more efficient. We've been good, overall, we've been good environmental stewards. If anything, it's probably you and I in our cars and maybe in our own living habits that haven't been controlled, and I think need to step up to the plate now and see how can we contribute individually, both both to cleaner air and to a more robust economy.
And so specifically on Section 185, what efforts were done and what's the resolution in this region?
Well, you know, it was almost a year to the day. In fact, I guess it'll be next week at last year's governing board retreat, when Dr. Burke and the other members of the board who had serious reservations about Section 185 and who recognized the inequities of it, finally, I guess, drew a line in the sand, if you will, and directed staff to go to Washington and find a resolution, an equitable resolution to this dilemma that they found their clients, the business community in. I had the opportunity to go with your executive officer and some others to Washington and meet with representatives of both Congress and the Senate and EPA to talk to them about the issues and explain to them the effect that it would have on businesses here. I was very encouraged by the support that they offered, and it wasn't just I don't think a lot of words on their part. They actually came up with some ideas on their own, writing letters, making phone calls, visiting with EPA, and lending their wholehearted support to see if we could find a resolution to this.
And we have?
Well, yes, we did. I think through our collective efforts, we did find a stopgap measure. And but you know, I for one, and speaking for many of our members, know that the last chapter hasn't been written on this subject yet. And we're hopeful that in the end, either we're able to set this aside permanently, or find a way around Section 185 that will be meaningful and enduring for the business community here in Southern California.
Okay. Well, Mr. Bill Marr, thank you for joining us. As the Executive Director of the California Small Business Alliance, we thank you for your commitment to cleaner air.
My pleasure.
Well, that's our show. I'm Mark Carroll. Thank you for watching AQMD on the Air. Visit us at cleanairconnections.org to learn how you can help us clean the air that we breathe.
Let's work together.